Who's in charge, the public or the mainstream media?
Well, first of all, I don't accept the term mainstream media. They're not mainstream at all. They don't represent the majority of Americans. And we're really happy to see so many people still showing up every week here, because this way they can't, nobody can say we don't exist. There's nothing to see here, move along. We're in terrible trouble right now, but we've got an amazing opportunity in all the difficulty. I mean, we're absolutely cringing in horror at what a possible Harris administration would mean for our lives, our economy, our jobs, our taxes, our ability to go about our business without, having to, obey the latest COVID crap. But worse even than what a Harris administration could possibly mean is what accepting this phony, fraudulent election result would mean. If we don't fight it now, we're not going to be able to fight it in 2 years, 4 years, 8 years down the road. We cannot allow this fraud, this massive fraud, computer fraud, mail-in ballot fraud, ballot harvesting, all the shenanigans going on. We cannot allow this to become the new normal. We have to fight this. We got to release the Kraken. We got to support the legal minds who are really on our side and on Trump's side, not the high-powered, big law firms in Washington, but Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Lynn Wood, the people who are really committed, the patriots who are really committed to fighting for us. We need to support them, and this is just wonderful to see. California is not lost. It belongs in America, just along with Texas and Oklahoma and everybody else. So,
if you were to listen to any mainstream source, even Fox News today, they would say the president making false claims, false accusations. What happens to the normalization of that statement by supposedly professional journalists who are abdicating their objectivity?
Well, these supposedly legitimate journalists have soiled their diapers. I mean, it's just absolutely embarrassing. I forget her name, the blonde. I mean, who'd have thunk that the mighty Fox News empire could be brought down by a dumb blonde? But it happened. When she thought she was not on camera, not on the air, and somebody said, hey, it's not up to CNN or even Fox News to call the election. The blood was gushing out of her eyeballs as she said, what? I mean, she looked like one of those television journalists from a 1950s era Japanese space invasion movie. What's happening? Oh my God. Well, what's happening is you're being called out. You don't call the election. We have a process for that, a constitutional process, a legal process. So it's just amazing to see that there's so many losers at Fox News that don't even have the journalistic integrity to say, okay, we think there's a high likelihood that Biden won this, but we'll have to see as the process going on. No, it's we called it, so there's nothing more to say about this. Now, I know there's a controversy going on right now between Tucker Carlson and Sidney Powell. I'm not terribly concerned about that. Tucker is within his rights to say, hey, show us the proof or whatever. I am less concerned about whether I agree with what somebody says as to whether what he says, stimulates me to think a little bit harder. And the bottom line of that is what we have going to stand up in court. Because, I'm all for releasing the Kraken, and I'm mind blown by the daily release of details of how deep this thing goes. But the bottom line is this going to stand up in court? Do we have the facts and the logic and the statistics to blow the judges' minds and say, oh, there really is something here. We really can't certify this. We're going to have to take the next step. So let's tone down the intramural feud right now, and focus on the prize. We got to make this happen in the courts. That's the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is what you see right here. We got to show the world that we exist. We're here. We're not lying down. We are not giving up. And God bless Trump. Listen, I was late to be on board with him. I even passed up an opportunity to attend one of his events during the campaign in 2016, which I now regret. But he has earned the respect of the American people and of anybody who believes in the Constitution and our great republic.
Who voted in the majority?
Absolutely, the Republicans and the not so Republicans, but the people who realized that Trump was the man who was defending them, defending the Constitution, defending the Republic. I think it's quite plausible that the real number is some on the order of 80 million for Trump.
Who can you trust to deliver an accurate result or count?
Well, we have to do a full audit. It's not about a recount. It's not about repeating the same baloney count that got us, to Fox News calling it for Biden. It's about an audit. It's about a disciplined, rigorous process of figuring out which of these votes are legitimate, legal, with a chain of custody and all that, and which ones are not. Which ones are illegal. Which ones are literally illegal aliens or dead people voting, as they call it.
What about the hijacked software?
Well, of course. And I'm a programmer. Do you realize how easy it is to write an algorithm? Okay, if vote for Biden, switch to vote for Trump. I mean, that's about the easiest. That's like a fifth grader can write an algorithm. Like, we shouldn't even use the fancy words like algorithm. It makes it sound like, oh, it's so sophisticated, it's so mysterious. It's nothing. Yeah. You could write that.
Dominion voting systems, they shared office space with Soros. Soros' funded Tides Foundation, which also supports Black Lives Matter's foundation.
Oh, yeah. And Antifa, the whole radical left, usual suspects and fellow travelers are on board with that. But I have yet to see it, but somebody's got to come up with the map of North America that shows Canada and Mexico and the United States of Venezuela in the middle. Because, it's unbelievable that we allowed a system that's nominally headquartered in Canada called Dominion, well, a real super Canadian name there, right, but which no Canadian district actually uses in their elections. They wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and Texas, to their credit, and many other jurisdictions said, no, hell no, we're not using this.
If that's the case, then how did so many states wind up acquiring, sanctioning, and accepting their integrity?
That's beyond my comprehension. I follow the money. At best, it's gross negligence, and at worst, of course, it's a horrific conspiracy. And I don't mean that in the tinfoil hat sense. I mean in the Trump derangement syndrome sense. It's like nothing matters except that we get rid of Trump. We can destroy the constitutional system. We can destroy trust in the election system, but none of that matters. What we must absolutely get rid of Trump, and we must ensure that the deplorables of the world, not just in the United States, but all the populist movements, get the message that this is never going to be permitted to happen again. And that's what we here are here to say. Sorry, you're not going to prevail in that.
What are your thoughts on the political science aspect of this? Gramsci, communism, socialism, globalism?
You're starting to get beyond my pay grade, although I know a little bit about Gramsci. I mean, there's all these movements. There's the Frankfurt School that Breitbart uncovered. There's who's the not Ceausescu, the Romanian Soviet guy who blew the lid off of the origins of the deep state and all that. I'm drawing a blank, but it's all part of the anti-American, anti-constitutional, anti-free speech, anti-Bill of Rights, anti-Second Amendment, everything. We declared our independence from the old royalist aristocratic, elitist system back in 1776, and the rest of the world has been at war with us ever since. And we're still holding the line, and they call us deplorables, and we're owning it and wearing the label proudly.